Coming up, I'm taking you back through the year that was 2020, when Zoom meetings replaced in-person hangouts and learning was done completely online, when statues came down, and to when time stopped for a while. We're going to say goodbye to some great artists, and we'll take a peek into 2021 to see what might or might not be in store for us. So stick around because Almost Famous starts right now. 3, 2, 1. Hi everyone, I'm Jes Fama and Happy New Year! 2021 couldn't have come any quicker, but like they say, you can't really enjoy the good without the bad. And even though 2020 wasn't all bad, I think collectively we all let out a sigh when midnight hit on December 31st. So before we look forward, here's a quick rundown of the year that will leave a mark on all of us forever. The Australian bushfires. This poor country faced one of its most devastating wildfire seasons ever. The fire continued from December 19 into a new year and burned a record of 46 million acres. It relocated thousands of people and nearly 3 billion animals were killed or displaced. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle quit the royal family. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex shocked both sides of the pond with their announcement of stepping down as senior royals. They were now to be financially independent and are to split their time between the US and the UK. And then the earth stood still when the COVID-19 pandemic hit. The World Health Organization announced on January 9th that a deadly coronavirus had emerged in Wuhan, China. And on January 21st, the United States confirmed their first case. The virus spread across the globe to more than 80 million people and resulting in at least 1.8 million deaths worldwide to date. And as one of our last big award shows before lockdown, history was made when Parasite swept the Oscars. Bong Joon-ho's film took home the most awards, landing Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, and Best International Feature Film. This marked the first time a non-English language movie won Best Picture. On February 24th, the disgraced Hollywood kingpin Harvey Weinstein was convicted of raping an actress and for sexually abusing a TV and film production assistant. Many people celebrated this verdict as it marked a huge moment for the Me Too movement. The Dow Jones Industrial Average suffered its worst single-day point drop ever on March 9th. The coronavirus pandemic triggered a global recession as numerous countries went into lockdown. On May 25th, the world was in shock when footage was released of George Floyd taking some of his last breaths. Floyd was killed by a Minneapolis police officer who pinned him down and had his knee on Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. The next day, the Black Lives Matter movement was sparked and waves of demonstrations and riots across the globe ignited, demanding an end to police brutality and racial injustice. And if you've been playing 2020 bingo, this is about the time that you could check off murder hornets. These invasive insects grow up to 2 inches long. They can wipe out entire bee colonies within hours, and if they sting you enough, you could die. So yeah, bingo. On August 4th, on a port in Beirut, an accidental detonation of 2,700 tons of ammonium nitrate killed at least 190 people, and the explosion injured thousands of others. Joe Biden announced his selection of Senator Kamala Harris to be the Democratic VP candidate. This made her the first Black woman on a presidential ticket and only the 4th woman in U.S. history to be chosen for the presidential ticket. Also in August, deadly wildfires erupted from California to Washington state, burning millions of acres and displacing hundreds of thousands of people. This season was particularly very scary because severe August thunderstorms that ignited numerous wildfires across California, Oregon, and Washington. The fact that it was an election year swirled some controversy about the timing of Amy Coney Barrett's nomination. On October 27th, the Senate voted to confirm Barrett's nomination to the Supreme Court, all but one member of the Republican Party voting in favor and all Democrats voting against. Barrett took the judicial oath on October 27th, replacing recently deceased Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And hooray for California! Lakers win it all on October 11th. The LA Lakers beat the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals to win another. 27th, the LA Dodgers played Game 6 against the Tampa Bay Rays and won the World Series. This is the first time since 1988 for them. Congrats, guys! On November 7th, Joe Biden becomes president-elect, defeating President Trump and bringing to an end one of the most contentious elections in recent history. And closing out 2020, the first COVID-19 vaccine rolls out, and on December 14th, the first Americans were vaccinated against the coronavirus after the U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved the emergency use of Pfizer's COVID-19 shot on December 11th. Then, on December 18th, a second vaccine was developed by Moderna. It was approved by the FDA as well. The development of the two vaccines, which were developed in less than a year, was regarded as one of the greatest scientific accomplishments in U.S. history. Well, 2020 was certainly a roller coaster of a year, and the pandemic took more lives than we could have ever imagined. So before we start looking at the year ahead, I would like to take a minute and remember the talented and inspirational people that we love who we lost in 2020. You will be remembered and live on through your work and the inspiration that you shed throughout your lives. Fortunately, there are plenty of things to look forward to this year, and not just the return of, well, everything. At some point, concerts, sports, culture, travel, conventions, in-person get-togethers with the people that you love and care about will all hopefully make a comeback. Here are some of the things coming your way over the next 12 months. Without a doubt, the most anticipated event of 2021 is the arrival of the COVID vaccine. The timeline is ambitious, especially given that the two-dose vaccines must be stored at extremely low temperatures. Following initial shipments of an estimated 6 million doses by the beginning of the year, the Centers for Disease Control are recommending that 17 million healthcare workers and nursing home residents get the first vaccines. Next up will be police, firefighters, transportation workers, teachers, and first responders. By the end of December, a substantial proportion of this population are expected to be vaccinated. Once we reach herd immunity, which is anywhere between 50% and 70% of the population being vaccinated, masks will no longer be recommended. The timing of this depends on how many people take the vaccine, but probably not until the later half of 2021. Until then, stay safe out there. 2021 brings us the one with the reunion. Could we be any more excited? According to Matthew Perry, the Friends reunion special, originally scheduled to air last May, will finally tape this March. The six pals will hang out and reminisce as themselves, not their fictional characters Chandler, Joey, Monica, Phoebe, Rachel, and Ross. For the past 22 years, the color experts at Pantone have chosen Colors of the Year, which has in turn influenced textile and graphic design, fashion, home furnishings, and other products. Pantone's 2021 optimistic and reassuring colors of the year are Illuminating, which is a bright yellow, and Ultimate Gray. My take on that, it's the sun trying to burst through the clouds. So it's kind of like 2021 bursting through 2020. For the 34.2 million Americans with diabetes, the first tubeless automated insulin delivery system, or basically a working pancreas, will be released in the first part of the year. The Omnipod 5 pairs with the Dexcom G6 continuous glucose monitor to keep blood sugar levels within the healthy range. Use for people with type 1 diabetes who use insulin daily will be approved first, followed later by approvals for those with type 2 diabetes. To really go for the gold in 2021, the Summer Olympics in Tokyo is now scheduled to run from July 23rd to August 8th. Among the highlights, 4 new sports, karate, skateboarding, sport climbing, and surfing will all make their debut. And baseball and softball will return for the first time since 2008. Brood X, a massive swarm of cicadas that emerge once every 17 years to mate and lay eggs, are expected to come out of hibernation in May for the first time since 2004 by the billions. These cicadas mate so loudly that the sound can reach over 100 decibels and can be heard from a mile away. The insects are harmless and they do not bite, spread disease, or harm crops. Quite the contrary, they die after laying their eggs and help the environment by replenishing the topsoil with nitrogen as they decompose. Okay, so we hit rock bottom in 2020, but it did have some major breakthroughs, and the only way to go from here is up. So before I go, I would like to take a second to thank all the first responders, healthcare workers, and every other person who are on the front lines every day and in harm's way, for working day in and day out. If it weren't for all of you, who knows how we would have survived 2020. I wish all of you a year with positivity, hope, and change. Let's lift each other up. We got this. I'm Jes Fama. Thanks for watching, and Happy New Year. This year in review is dedicated to the great Baron Scott Bakula Ranofsky Fama. Love you, B.
Please hang up and try again.